The light of the world brings peace to every mind through my forgiveness. The light of the world brings peace to every mind through my forgiveness. Let me not forget my function. Let me not forget my function. The light of the world brings peace to every mind through my forgiveness. The light of the world brings peace to every mind through my forgiveness. Let me not forget my function as the light of the world. Thank you all so much for joining me. I'm Miracle Willie, forgiveness teacher from the Ozarks, and we're ready for lesson 82, our second review lesson in our second reviews, the second review lesson of the second review. Here on Friday, March the 22nd of 2024, we will review these ideas today, lesson 63 and 64. So the first one being 63, the light of the world brings peace to every mind through my forgiveness. And our second review is 64, let me not forget my function. So for the first one, the light of the world brings peace to every mind through my forgiveness. My forgiveness is the means by which the light of the world finds expression through me. My forgiveness is the means by which I become aware of the light of the world in me. My forgiveness is the means by which the world is healed, together with myself. Let me then forgive the world that it may be healed along with me. Let me forgive the world. Take my beliefs that I've put on it, the idols that I'm living, worshiping. Let's let all that go. Suggestions for specific forms for applying this idea, the light of the world brings peace to every mind through my forgiveness. So if you find yourself a little uncomfortable with something that someone's saying, tell yourself, let peace extend from my mind to yours, Joe Biden, or whoever it is that you're having a little irritation with. I share the light of the world with you, Donald Trump, or whoever it might be. Just put their name in there. If they're having a little trouble, Netanyahu, maybe you're having trouble with something that he's saying or doing. Well, then you can say, I share the light of the world with you, Netanyahu. Through my forgiveness, I can see this as it is. Through my forgiveness, I can see this as it is. And then let me not forget my function. I would not forget my function because I would remember myself. I cannot fulfill my function if I forget it. And unless I fulfill my function, I will not experience the joy that God intends for me. Unless I fulfill my function as the light of the world, practicing forgiveness, I will not experience the joy that God intends for me. Suitable specific forms of this idea include, let me not use this to hide my function from me. Wow, don't look at your unforgiveness, your grievance, because that's going to cause you to lose awareness of your identity. You'll have to go into the subconscious and find it. And that's what our lessons are all about, is being still and quiet a couple times today for 15 minutes. Review the first one. And then sometime towards the evening, review the second one for 15 minutes. But all through the day, whenever you need it, be sure to tell yourself, let me not forget my function. If it's in the afternoon, if it's in the morning, the light of the world brings peace to every mind through my forgiveness. And some specific ideas for the second one, let me not forget my function. Let me not use this to hide my function from me. I would use this as an opportunity to fulfill my function. So when some little irritation comes up, or you're not liking what's going on, and you can clearly realize that your piece is gone, displaced, shattered, at least disturbed, then tell yourself, I would use this as an opportunity to fulfill my function. Hey, here's another opportunity to practice forgiveness, you could tell yourself. This may threaten my ego, but cannot change my function in any way. Yeah, your ego will be threatened when someone slaps you on the right cheek, and then you turn to him the left, and as you turn to him the left, you say, well, you can say it to yourself, this may threaten my ego, but cannot change my function in any way. I'm still supposed to turn the other cheek, go the second mile, love my neighbor as myself, regardless of what my neighbor does. They're all just appeals for love anyway. Need to learn to see it that way. Okay, now let's go back and look at our text reading for today. And we're in chapter 10, the idols of sickness, and we're ready for the decision to forget. And while you're turning there, let's just take a minute and let me tell you what all's going on around the world as I found it on, of course, we're still got Lent for Greek Orthodox, Lent for the Roman Catholic, and all the Protestant denominations that practice Lent, the ones that do. I think Lutherans do, and maybe Episcopalians. Then we've got Ramadan continues. On holidays and observances, as young as you feel day. Feel young and you are young as you feel day. Kagaven Day, which is a chicken and red wine with mushrooms and sometimes garlic salt in a kind of casserole. Gryffindor Pride Day, of course, that's from Harry Potter's National, Gryffindor Pride Day. International Day of the Seal. International Talk Like William Shatner Day. You know, he was a Canadian actor that, of course, we all know him from Star Trek, probably. And I want to tell you something about happening in a close encounter here in just a minute. National Bavarian Crepes Day. Or crepes, creeps. National Goof Off Day, Sing Out Day, National Sing Out Day, National Water Day, and World Water Day, and World Day of Meta. And I said I wanted to say something about a UFO sighting out of, it was in Zimbabwe in 1994. I've got some notes written down. I thought it was it's nice to know this occurred. 62 children saw it. And of those 62, they said they had a telepathic understanding when they looked into this man's eyes, who had big eyes, the typical big head, small chin, black pants, some clothes, tight fitting, came out of his flying saucer that was parked there. And when they looked into his eyes, they all went into this knowing state. And the message that he had for them was one girl named Emma, who was, I think, 10 years old, that was for a private school from 6 to 12 years old, I think. Maybe a little older than 6, but I think Emma was 10. And she said, I just knew how important the environment is, and it needs to be our first priority, is what he tried to tell them. And then a girl named Salma, and she repeats this as an adult, because this is back in 94. We need clean air, beautiful plants, clean soil, able to live and thrive in that clean soil and air. So that was their message. I just thought it was a fascinating experience in Zimbabwe at aerial school. Our word for peace, since we're in the Zimbabwe, the Shona people, and I'm going to take a chance at Rogare as the word for peace. Rogare. Rogare is how I'm going to pronounce it. Somebody that knows Shona, please send me a proper pronunciation of that word if you know it. Primark Freedom Blackberry. Anyway, I just thought that was a fascinating story. The fact that 62 children saw it. The teachers had all gone inside for a few minutes to have a little meeting, and the children were playing at recess for about 10 or 15 minutes when this experience happened. Okay, we're Primark Freedom Thornless Blackberry. The Primark Freedom is the first thornless primocane fruiting blackberry. A blackberry usually grows 1 year and doesn't fruit until the following season. Freedom fruits this way very early in the season, but then fruits again in the fall where the climate is suitable. Freedom has also exceptional fruit size, good flavor, and the plant grows upright and needs little or no staking. Zone 6 through 8, space 5-foot circles or 5 foot apart. And that's your Primark Freedom Blackberry, and it's a rubus. I think it's a fruticosus. It was plant patented in 2008, so it's got a plant patent. You know, there's over 42,000 blackberry plant patents worldwide. Permaculture for Beginners, Carrie Mitchell. Chapter 5, Plant Placement. This next section is zoning. And she says, consider your plot from a maintenance and a care need and a harvest need. How often are you going to use those things? Your lower zone, she called it zone 0, but you know, I would think of it as zone 1. Right around the house, close right out the back door, maybe right out the front door. Consider your plants from that zone. The first zone are those that you pick or care for often, like lettuce. Your higher number zones will be further out from the house, and there'll be things like timber trees, maybe nut trees. But you know, as you radiate away from the house, you get further away, less maintenance, and that'll just makes your life a whole lot easier, doesn't it? Is there anything else I wanted to say? Let me look on the back side of my paper. I found the Shona word for the great mystery was Zenura. You know, the Osage have the word for the great mystery, which is their idea of God, which is Wakanta. Okay, well, let's go take a look at Idols of Sickness. And let's just take a quick review of the introduction. Nothing beyond yourself can make you fearful or loving, because nothing is beyond you. Time and eternity are both in your mind and will conflict until you perceive time solely as a means to regain eternity. This is the first paragraph of the chapter. You cannot do this as long as you believe that anything happening to you is caused by factors outside yourself. You must learn that time is solely at your disposal, and that nothing in the world can take this responsibility from you. You're the one that gets to set up what happens in your world. You can violate God's laws in your imagination, but you cannot escape from them. They were established for your protection and are as inviolate as your safety. God created nothing beside you, and nothing beside you exists, for you are part of Him. Every response you make to everything you perceive is up to you, because your mind determines your perception of it. When anything threatens your peace of mind, ask yourself, has God changed His mind about me? Then accept His decision, for it is indeed changeless. The law of creation is that you love your creations as yourself, because they are part of you. So says God. The law of creation is that you love your creations as yourself, because they are part of you. Would you bother to reconcile what happened in conflicting dreams, or would you dismiss both together if you discovered that reality is in accord with neither? Yet what has once been is so now, if it is eternal. You will remember everything the instant you desire it wholly. For if to desire wholly is to create, you will have willed away the separation, returning your mind simultaneously to your Creator and your creations. Knowing them, you will have no wish to sleep, but only the desire to waken and be glad. Dreams will be impossible because you will want only truth. And being at last your will, it will be yours. The next paragraph, which will start the next section, the decision to forget. Unless you first know something, you cannot dissociate it. Knowledge must precede a dissociation, so that dissociation is nothing more than a decision to forget. What has been forgotten then appears to be fearful, but only because the dissociation is an attack on truth. You are fearful because you have forgotten, and you have replaced your knowledge by an awareness of dreams because you are afraid of your dissociation, not of what you have dissociated. When what you have dissociated is accepted, it ceases to be fearful. 2. Yet to give up the dissociation of reality brings more than merely lack of fear. In this decision lie joy and peace and the glory of creation. Offer the Holy Spirit only your willingness to remember, for He retains the knowledge of God and of yourself for you, waiting for your acceptance. Give up gladly everything that would stand in the way of your remembering, for God is in your memory. His voice will tell you what you are part of. His voice will tell you that you are part of Him when you are willing to remember Him and know your own reality again. Let nothing in this world delay your remembering of Him, for in this remembering is the knowledge of yourself. To remember is merely to restore to your mind what is already there. You do not make what you remember. You merely accept again what is already there but was rejected. The ability to accept truth in this world is the perceptual counterpart of creating in the kingdom. God will do His part if you will do yours. And His return in exchange for yours is the exchange of knowledge for perception. Again on that. God will do His part if you will do yours. And His return in exchange for yours is the exchange of knowledge for perception. Nothing is beyond His will for you, but signify your will to remember Him, and behold, He will give you everything, but for the asking. When you attack, you are denying yourself. You're specifically teaching yourself that you are not what you are. Catch that. Let's make sure you get that. When you attack, to belittle someone else, to diminish them, to outright try to hurt them, to push them down in any way, is an attack. Well, when you attack, you're denying yourself. You're specifically teaching yourself that you are not what you are. You're teaching yourself that you're not love. And you're going to believe it and make a world that seems to prove it. Your denial of reality precludes the acceptance of God's gift because you have accepted something else in its place. If you understand this is always an attack on truth, and truth is God, you will realize why it is always fearful. Again on that, if you understand that this is always an attack on truth, and truth is God, you will realize why it is always fearful. If you further recognize that you are part of God, you will understand why it is that you always attack yourself first. Paragraph 5, all attack is self-attack. Okay, remember that, and you'll start losing your thinking that it'll get you something that you want, because you're going to lose what you are by attacking. All attack is self-attack. Of course, it's done in an illusion, even though it seems real in this world. Knock on wood, knock on bark. It seems real, doesn't it? But to the dreamer, the dream seems real until he wakens from it, and he's glad. All attack is self-attack. It cannot be anything else. Arising from your own decision not to be what you are, it is an attack on your identification. Attack is thus the way in which your identification is lost, because when you attack, you must have forgotten what you are. You wouldn't have attacked, you would have just loved, because you're a love being. That's your reality. And if your reality is God's, when you attack, you are not remembering Him. This is not because He is gone, but because you are actively choosing not to remember Him. The last paragraph, 6. If you realize the complete havoc this makes of your peace of mind, you could not make such an insane decision. You make it only because you still believe it can get you something you want. You make it only because you still believe that it can get you something that you want. Oh, won't we be happy when the day comes where we don't think that attack will get us something that we want? Then we'll learn to be silent and still and ask God for a new perception, the miracle of the love that we are and that our brother is. If you realize the complete havoc that attacking your brother, let me back up even a little further. If your reality is God, when you attack, you're not remembering him. This is not because he is gone, but because you are actively choosing not to remember him. If you realize the complete havoc this makes of your peace of mind, you could not make such an insane decision. You make it only because you still believe it can get you something you want. It follows then that you want something other than peace of mind, but you have not considered what it must be. It follows then that you want something other than peace of mind, because you have not considered what it must be. But you have not considered what it must be. Yet the logical outcome of your decision is perfectly clear, if you will only look at it. By deciding against your reality, you have made yourself vigilant against God and his kingdom. And it is this vigilance that makes you afraid to remember him. So that's the wrong vigilance. That's the vigilance we want to free ourselves from. And we want to be vigilant for God and his kingdom, instead of vigilant about watching for fears and thinking that we can be attacked and fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me mentality. Let's let that go. Let's don't even have those kind of thinking anymore. Okay, well, let's sing our song as we close, and I think you know what to do now. You're going to take about 15 minutes and have a book study, a meditation at the latter part, the last 10 or 12 minutes. Let it be with your eyes closed, opening them again and looking at your book sitting on your lap. If you need to bring your attention back to what you're doing. As your mind becomes better able to stay focused, you'll not have to open your eyes as much. But he says that that's fine to do, to bring your attention back. He says take the first 3 or 4 minutes and study the words and of course this will be: the light of the world brings peace to every mind through my forgiveness. My forgiveness is the means by which the light of the world finds expression through me. My forgiveness is the means by which I become aware of the light of the world in me. My forgiveness is the means by which the world is healed together with myself. Let me then forgive the world that it may be healed along with me. And then there's some specific suggestions that I'm not going to read right now. And then if it's in the afternoon, you'll do the same thing. Let me not forget my function. I would not forget my function because I would remember myself. I cannot fulfill my function if I forget it. And unless I fulfill my function, I will not experience the joy that God intends for me. And then some more suitable subjects, ideas. But the words are not as important as just getting a sense of what we're trying to do. And I'm going to go ahead and sing this way. I sang it back on, I think it was lesson 63 or maybe 64. Light of the world brings peace to every mind through my forgiveness. I am the means God has appointed for the salvation of the world. Let me not forget my function. Let me not forget my function. substitute mine for God's, not the ego. Let me forgive and be happy. Let me forgive and be happy. This is the world, it is my function to save. Let me forgive and be happy. Let me forgive and be happy. This is the world, it is my function. It is my function to save. Forgive everybody. The light of the world brings peace to every mind. Through my forgiveness, I am the means God has appointed for the salvation of the world. Let me not forget my function. Let me not forget my function. Let me not try to substitute mine for God's. Let me forgive and be happy. Let me forgive and be happy and stay happy. This is the world, it is my function to save. Light of the world brings peace to every mind. Through my forgiveness, let me not forget my function. Let me not forget my function. The light of the world brings peace to every mind. Through my forgiveness, the light of the world brings peace to every mind. So if you're one of those 62 children that saw that space being that came to tell us that we need to take care of our own nest, our own environment, be glad. Forgive and be happy. Don't let it traumatize you. Be thankful. Practice forgiveness. And in the Shona language of Zimbabwe, Rogare. Well, hopefully we're pronouncing that properly for peace. Rogare. The light of the world brings peace to every mind through my forgiveness. Let me not forget my function. Rogare.